evening, meine Damen und Herren, ladies and gentlemen, mesdames et messieurs, welcome to Gauche. Welcome also to the very late, but also perfectly timed video of everything I want to make in 2025. Sewing and knitting. In case you don't know already, I can't crochet. We can't all have everything. So I've already nailed 2 skills. I feel like I don't need to... We don't need to go for crochet. It's fine. Me and crochet, we don't get on. And that's okay. You don't have to be everyone's cup of tea. Speaking of, chin chin. That's still too hot. Okay, this video has props. I'm really excited about 2025 in terms of craft though. I found that this year, especially starting YouTube and starting to make videos about craft, about sewing, about knitting. I haven't done that many of them, but I'm really enjoying it, and especially the kind of additional motivation to finish a project. I think because I don't get enjoyment from like when people say, oh my god, did you make that? I really don't like that. I find that really embarrassing and like, I just want to like be swallowed up into a hole. Like if other people have made their clothes, I'm like, oh my god, that's so sick, and like I have lots of questions and stuff. But when people say it to me, like I don't know how to follow up. I never know how to be like modest and humble, but also like grateful and appreciative. I always find myself just being like, no, it's not cool. Or like, no, like you could do this too. And somehow that feels kind of rude, and I don't want to be rude. I want to like say thank you and acknowledge that they're being nice. But anyway, that's something that I need to work on. Obviously I get enjoyment from the clothes I make, but there's no real like goal to finish them. It's like, well, who cares if I don't finish it, I've still got clothes to wear. Whereas like doing YouTube videos about it is, I don't know, it just provides like a little bit of a time constraint. Not that there's any kind of deadlines to these videos, but I just want to get them out and I want to kind of see the project right through to the end. And I don't know, so I've really been enjoying what that has added to my creative practice, if I can call it that. And it's also been really inspiring to see everybody else's videos. I found so many new creators this year. I love kind of seeing all of their styles and even feeling like I don't have to be the same or similar to what they are. Kind of what I love about all of those is their individuality. Watching them and being like, what I made in 2024 is completely different to yours. And like, they're both as inspiring and as fun and as like watchable. And yeah, I don't know whether this is making any sense, but I've loved all of that in 2024, and so I'm really looking forward to crafting in 2025. And there's lots of ideas that I've got for 2025 that were inspired by other YouTubers, other crafters that I've seen. So without further ado, these are the things that I would like to craft in 2025. This video is going to be about sewing and knitting, and I'm going to do them both at the same time because I'm disorganized and I don't really know how else to fit them all in. There is more with knitting than there is with sewing, and to be honest, this is something that I want to work on as a whole in 2025, because in 2024 I knitted a lot. I mean, you might have just watched my everything I made in 2024. I made like almost a dozen garments, and that's great because before I hadn't really knitted that much and I was kind of still picking up the ropes and getting the hang of it. So I really got into knitting in 2024, but I did kind of lose a bit of my, they call it the sojo. I kind of lost it. I don't really like that phrase, but I kind of lost a little bit of my like sewing excitement, I guess. I think mainly just because it was quite a hectic year. I was focusing on acting quite a lot, which was great, and I really enjoyed everything I did there. But I think, yeah, I really want in 2025 to find some more joy in sewing, and I have a massive stash of fabric that I really want to get through, especially because I'm probably going to be moving house in July. And a lot of my kind of focus for the first half of 2025 is going to be about getting through the stash. Just whittling that down, cleansing myself of everything that I do not wear and don't know what to do with. Because I don't want to, wherever I'm going, I don't want to be taking with me a massive stash of fabric that has no like immediate use. Some of this fabric I've been carrying around for years. It came with me to London when I moved here 4 years ago. And if it moves with me out of London, it's never going to get made into something. I think it's important to kind of keep the stash turning over. I don't think there's anything wrong with having a stash, but some bits have been in that stash for a very long time. And it's time to make them into some beautiful garments. So I guess that's goal number 1, is to get through my stash. The first thing that I want to make in 2025 is the Piece by Piece blanket by Anna Holmberg. I'll either make the Piece by Piece blanket, or she's coming out with a new, I think it's called the 2025 blanket. And in each month of 2025, she's going to release like 4 or 5 blocks of colour work in a certain colourway for each month. And you knit those patches, and then you can knit them all together to make this lovely blanket like throughout the year. I think that would just be such a lovely thing to make, and like a really nice kind of heirloom piece. And it also taps into one of the techniques that I really wanted to learn in 2025. I've kind of got some of it down, but I really want to perfect the art of colour dominance in Fair Isle knitting. This is so specific, but basically there's a way where you can carry the yarn behind the work, and it affects really dramatically the way that your pattern appears like on the right side of the work. And I really haven't got the hang of it. I did some Fair Isle on my parents' stockings that I made them for Christmas, and I was kind of trying to work it out as I went along, but it really didn't work. I couldn't get the hang of it, and I really want to like perfect that. So I think that this would be a really good project to do that with. But the other option for this blanket is the Norwegian alphabet blanket by Jorid Lindvik. I'm really sorry if I'm saying that wrong. Which is a really nice, like it's inspired by this Afghan blanket that my mum has in her study at home. I think lots of people have them. But I really like these blankets that have kind of the letter and then like something to do with the letter around the outside. I don't know. I think that's really cute. I think maybe that's an option. I think that's a really cute blanket, but I would do it in lots of different colours, I think, rather than all in 2 colours like this one. We're probably going to go for the 2025 blanket though, I think. So the second thing I want to make is a pair of felted slippers. I saw this YouTube video by Kate Biez where she basically knits and felts a pair of wool slippers, and they look incredible. There's something about like using the fact that wool can felt. I think using that to your advantage is a cool idea. So this is the Lion brand Fisherman's Wool Wool Ease Felted Slip-Ons pattern. It's a free pattern from Lion brand, and it makes use of like 2 different types of yarn. So you can get wool that felts when you wash it, and then you can get superwash wool, or in this case I think it's called Woolies, and you can wash it and it won't felt. And so you knit these slippers, and like the main foot of the slipper is in the wool that felts, and then you knit the kind of ankle, like the sock part of it, in the yarn that doesn't felt. And then you wash them, you felt them, and obviously the sock part like felts and the ankle bit doesn't. And they look really cute. So I thought I might give those a go, because they look like they only use 1 ball of each yarn as well. So that would be a nice, cute, easy project. And I think I'm going to add some soles to mine, because I do want to be able to use them out and about. Now, this next project is not yet clear in my mind, but it's inspired by the Suzanne Niels jumper, which is phenomenal. I love this jumper. I think it's so beautiful. I really want to copy the stitch pattern like exactly, or as close as I can. I just think it's so nice. So much so that for Christmas I asked for this from my sister, and she very kindly obliged. Actually, I can't remember if this was my sister or my mum. Sorry if you're watching, whichever one it was, but you know I love this gift. This is the Japanese Knitting Stitch Bible with 260 exquisite patterns by Hitomo Shida. And exquisite is the word. Exquisite is absolutely the word. They are stunning. Stunning. To the extent where, like, I was well underway writing my list of what I wanted to make in 2025 when I got this book. And then I got this book and I was like, wait a minute. Wait a hot dang minute. Now I just have to do a scalloped edge. I mean, look at that. That's so flipping cute. Oh my god, they're just so cute. They're so intricate and like detailed but simple. Some of them are so simple but so effective. We love a simple but effective. It's a great combination, a classic. This is a big inspiration for that. And when I was on my little holiday in Ross on Wye, I started knitting up these samples of some of the lace patterns, and they're not quite right. These aren't the lace patterns from that book because I hadn't got that book when I went on my holiday, but I found some free kind of lace patterns online. So I tried it. I've never done lace knitting before, so that in itself will be an adventure. I also don't like having holes in my knitting. I don't enjoy it. I like the cables, I like the bobbles, I do not like holes. So I don't really know how I'm going to do lace work without holes, because I kind of feel like it's a bit of an integral part of lace work. So this is the yarn and the fabric that I'm going to make this pattern out of, I believe. This is the Knitting for Olive silk merino, silk mohair, silk something in Clover Green. And then I'm either going to make it out of the Jamieson's Shetland Spindrift or this Peer Gynt yarn that I got from Oxford Yarn Store. Have nay decided yet. And a big element of that project that I really want to incorporate is these like mini bobbles that are on the Neil Cezanne jumper. I have never in my life done a bobble before, and I know that there are lots of different ways to do bobbles, and I just want to give them a go. I see many bobbles in my 2025. I see many bobbles. I think that this is a good kind of gateway bobble. So yes, that project will probably teach me lots of things. Bobbles, lace, all sorts. I've never knitted with Knitting for Olive before, and everybody raves about it, so I will report back if it's worth it. I don't know. I was considering for a while not kind of making my own pattern or anything and just using the Ingrid sweater pattern from Knitting for Olive.
No.
From Petite Knit. And I love that pattern, so I think I'll probably make that at some point in 2025 anyway. But I think that's going to be a separate thing. Mainly, gotta be honest, mainly because it doesn't have bobbles. And you know how obsessed I am with bobbles. Tea break. Okay. Another project that I really want to make in 2025 is the Inga sweater by Lanit. Love this jumper. I actually love everything Lanit makes. And so honestly, if I could, I would put everything that they've produced into my queue. I'll hopefully get through a good number of their patterns, but like at the moment it's a financial constraint. I can't afford to make every single one of these. So we'll see how many we can get done, but the Inga sweater is high priority. And back in Christmas 2023, I did a big fat order of Drops Nepal, and for the life of me, cannot remember why. These 3 colours were in that order, along with many other things. The yarn I made my G jumper with, yellow yarn, I got a couple of balls of yellow yarn, a couple of balls of bright white yarn, who fucking knows why I bought that, but these 3 were in there. And I believe that in my brain, in my Christmas betwixtmas crimbo limbo haze, I thought that these would go together. I'm trying to like put myself back in that state, and I think that I would have thought that this was a good idea, but now I don't know. And I've talked about this before, but the only project that I can imagine that I wanted to make with these is the Inga sweater. I don't want to make that out of this, so I'm going to have to come up with something else to do with those. I don't know what. But that's part of my goal. Part of my goal for 2025, use up this stash, so I've got to come up with something. I think these might be a cute pair of shorts. like knitted shorts maybe. Then this bloody albatross around my neck, the Jora jumper. This was the first jumper I ever made. And right at the beginning of 2024, in a frenzy, I just unraveled the whole thing. I don't know why. They don't sell this yarn anymore, so I can't buy any more if I don't have enough to make something. I do definitely have enough to make something, but I have no idea what. Like, I don't have enough of any of the individual colours to make one thing. I could do something colour work, but I have to have the right specific amount for that project. It's a very confusing decision that I made to do that, and I do sort of stand by it because I never wore the Jora jumper. It didn't fit right, it wasn't a good make, it wasn't a success. But it was my first ever jumper, and I'm kind of a little bit annoyed at myself for so unceremoniously just frogging the shit out of it in one night. I don't know that that was a good idea, but anyway, it's done. Here it is, here's the Jora jumper in all her glory. 2025, we're going to tackle this. We're going to re-knit it, and it is going to be glorious. It's going to be something absolutely spectacular. We're going to find a pattern for it. Nobody knows what the future holds, but we're going to find a pattern for it, and we're going to make it work. Make it work, designers. Make it work. Are you ready? Next thing on the list for 2024, 2025, my God, we haven't moved on, is I want to make some summer knits. You know, I've never made summer knits before. I want to give it a go. I think knitting can be summery. So I actually had this idea last year. I bought all of this organic cotton. I got it in this lovely cream colour, and I think I want to make the Audrey top by Petite Knit. And I think I have too much of that for it, so I'll probably end up making something else as well. I also want to make a little bra top, probably out of this. I don't know what this is, I don't have the label for it. Okay, let's get back to the list because we're getting distracted. I'm getting a little bit overwhelmed actually by how big my stash is and how much I need to knit to get rid of it all. Anyway, let's not think about that. I really also want to do some lace work, again with the Niels jumper, maybe with like a cute cami, maybe with that cotton. I really want to try knitting a scalloped hem or a scalloped something a la Japanese Knitting Stitch Bible. This is so cute. All of them are so cute. I mean, it's so adorable. So anyway, that's on the list for sure. So that's pretty much all the techniques that I want to do in knitting. I could make my own patterns. That might be something that would happen in 2025. But I feel like I'm getting to the point now where I'm like making goals for the sake of making goals rather than because it's something that I really actually want to achieve. Like, there's a lot going on in 2025. I don't necessarily have to also start being a pattern designer. I don't think that that's a reasonable expectation to have of myself. Okay, so in terms of sewing, the projects that I want to work on in 2024, okay, I want to do a pair of the Lane pants. I think these are by Sydney Graham. I'll put the pattern here. I saw a YouTube video of her making these pants, these trousers, and they're amazing. I love them. I think they're so cool. But then today I saw a YouTube video. Again, I spend too much time on YouTube, I know, but sue me. So do you. Honestly. I saw another YouTube video of Carly B making a pair of magic pants. They are incredible. They're amazing. They're like fully adjustable. They look so cool. The pocket construction is just incredible. I think they'd be amazing. And I think that the fabric I got for the Lane pants would be perfect for the magic pants. So I really want to do that. But both patterns are kind of spanny. This is the thing. I'm not used to sewing patterns being this expensive. Like, knitting patterns are like £4. Sewing patterns like the Lane pants are, I think, £10, and the magic pants are 14 or 13. And that's for the PDF. So then you have to go and print the pattern, stick it all together. I despair. That is enough of a hurdle for me. And if anybody has any tips on like how to get past that, because I know that there are copy shops that can print patterns, but I looked into that last year and like it was not affordable. It was like £70 for a page. So yeah, if anybody knows a better way of doing it, please let me know. But anyway, I really do want to make a pair of trousers, and I want them to be like elasticated but kind of tailored looking, and then like maybe some patch pockets on the legs so they're kind of cargo-y, and then like kind of vintage inspired, high-waisted, something like that. I'm also in my trad wife era, despite the fact that I don't have a husband, a house, or any kids. Basically, I'm making a lot of sourdough and making my own clothes and staying in a lot of the time. Maybe it's just winter, but that's the vibe that I'm living in right now, and I'm thoroughly enjoying it. So I think I want to make a crossback apron. I don't know, sue me. I think that's what I want to do. Just a really nice, like, heavy linen crossback apron. I don't know. I think that'd be fun. I don't know if I'd ever wear it, but that's the kind of vibe that I'm going for. Other than that, I don't really know what sewing projects I want to make. Maybe something quilted, like maybe a quilted jacket or something. I have loads of linens left over from the boxes for Bovtas that I made, so I could turn those into a quilted jacket quite easily. That might be really nice. But overall, I think I'm just worried about having too many clothes. I think I find that really overwhelming, and when I have too many clothes and I don't wear them, I just feel really guilty and frustrated. So I really want to focus on like everything that I do make. I want it to be super wearable and functional. In terms of sewing, I mean, I did a degree in sewing, so I feel like technique-wise, I've kind of got it down. There are a couple of things that I haven't done before that I would really like to try. For example, smocking. I would love to make a beautiful heirloom smocked dress. I think the likelihood of me actually completing a project like that is quite low, but that's kind of my goal. I just want to get stuff completed and actually like work through them to the end and not kind of fizzle out 70% of the way through, as I have done ever since I started sewing. That's how I've worked. It's very rare that I'll like fully finish a project. So that's something I really want to learn, is smocking and like seeing stuff through to the end. I also, I mean, I know how to do this, but I want to do more of it, and that is darning and visible mending. Like garment maintenance is something I really want to get more into in 2025. Again, trad wife era. Get me my penny, I'll get a roast chicken in the oven and I'll sit and darn some clothes while a sourdough proves. Jesus. Anyway, I have probably 6 coats in the cupboard, and probably 5 of them need some kind of maintenance. A hole darning, or the sleeve lining's coming out, or the pocket has a hole in it, or the bobbles need to be removed, or a button needs to be sewn back on. And I'm just so lazy, like I just don't ever get round to doing that. And I think maybe like setting aside an hour each week just to do garment maintenance, kind of maybe with my laundry, or yeah, some kind of just sit down and like, this is your hour to get through it and to just chip away at that pile. 'Cause I am not good at that. So I think that pretty much concludes my sewing and knitting goals for 2025. It will be so fascinating to come back here in a year and see what I've actually achieved and like what I ended up making, where I ended up going. I think this more than any other year, I'm starting the year knowing for certain that I have no idea where I'm going to end up. I kind of feel like I'm starting the year and everyone is sort of making all of these goals about next year and the year ahead and what it's going to look like for them. And I'm sort of embracing the idea that more than ever before, I don't know what's in front of me this year and next year and for the rest of my life. This is the year where I may or may not get into drama school, I may or may not leave London, I may or may not start a whole new life in a whole other country or a whole other city. I may or may not change jobs. I may or may not retrain. I may or may not, like, I have no idea what's going to happen this year. I have lots of ideas about what might happen this year. That's both really exciting and also kind of daunting. And so just to kind of be kind to myself, and I'm being quite lenient with these goals. I think that the blanket that I can make month by month will be a really good thing to kind of make no matter where I am and no matter what my kind of situation is. I should just be able to like knit a couple of patches, and I think that will be a really nice kind of consistency. But then pretty much everything else, I'm open to seeing where it goes. The mending clothes thing every week, that would be really nice if I could do that, but I'm not very good at doing things week by week, especially when I'm in a time of change. And I think that's okay. I think it's okay to kind of just be kind to yourself with these goals, and like if everything else in your life isn't stable, expecting yourself to do some kind of routine or regime of anything, of exercise, of food preparation, of anything, expecting that to be stable when nothing else in your life is, I think is kind of unreasonable. So all that to say, these goals are just for inspiration and to excite me, and if I don't end up doing any of them, that is okay. I'm telling this to my future self now. Georgia, in 2026, if you haven't done any of these goals, if you're looking back on your goals and you're thinking, what the fuck, I didn't do a single one of those, that is so fine. You had no idea that you would be wherever you are now. You had no idea that you would be there a year ago. I'm sat here and I don't know where you are, and wherever it is, I'm sure it's where you're meant to be. Knitting is still going to be there. It's not going anywhere. So it's something that you can famously do when you're a very old woman. So you have that to look forward to. Let me know in the comments below what your goals are for 2025, if you achieved your goals for 2024, if you have any mindset on like setting goals. I mean, I did a video earlier in the year about how setting goals in the beginning of the year is completely weird, because the beginning of the horticultural year and like the growing year, the natural year, is more like autumn. So this is a very strange thing to set goals in the middle of winter and sort of start working on them. But yeah, let me know what your thoughts are on all of that, and I'll see you soon.